Every second, the world changes, markets rise, leaders speak, stories unfold. To keep up, you don't just need news, you need clarity, you need speed, you need perspective.
That's why ANEKE TV brings you the global pulse. Accurate, reliable, right when it matters most. ANEKE TV. Move with the world.
You're still watching Sunrise on ANEKE TV. Now we're taking a look at our newspapers for today, starting from The Nation, Punch, Vanguard, and The Guardian newspaper.
And joining us this morning is the man of many parts, the sports oracle, commissioner of enjoyment. Somebody said commissioner with money, and the mental mechanic, Mr. Goodhope. It's a pleasure to have you on Sunrise one more time.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
And how is Nigeria treating you?
All right. Nigeria treats me and is treating me the way it's treating other Nigerians.
I doubt if it is the same, because you're shining this morning, and if I walk the street, there are those who are not shining like you, but Nigeria is treating you very, very well. I can see the oil in your forehead, the light is blazing, and you're smiling.
Yes,
That's wonderful.
That's wonderful.
Thanks to our motherland. It's
Yes.
treating you well.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right.
All right, now moving over to our papers for today, starting from The Nation paper, where the headline says, Tinubu, we will defeat this unacceptable terrorism and banditry. And on the Punch newspaper, the Punch headline is saying Senate reconvenes today as Electoral Act triggers uproar. And on the Vanguard paper, the Vanguard newspaper there says Electoral Act, Senate opens to criticism, will resolve issue today. And still on the Vanguard, it says Nigeria, I'll continue borrowing to fund 25.91 trillion naira budget deficits, Senate. And now on the Guardian paper, the Guardian there is saying fresh killings, abduction, heightened security fears amid drone attacks. And our papers will be starting from the Punch newspaper, where the major headline says Senate reconvenes today as Electoral Acts trigger uproar. Now, the Senate is back in session today following widespread controversy surrounding amendments to the Electoral Act. The proposed changes, especially those affecting election procedures, have sparked strong reaction from political parties, civil society groups, and Nigerians on social media. Lawmakers are expected to debate the matter amid rising public pressure as concerns grow over how the amendments could impact future elections. Mr. Aucha, I would like to know your take.
All right. This issue has been a front burner in Nigeria for a while now.
Yeah.
You know, speaking to electoral amendments, a lot of Nigeria, even before these very amendments, started speaking about these amendments long ago. Way back in early 2015, people have started campaigning for these electoral reforms, given what we witnessed in 2023. A lot of Nigerians, after the 2023 election, started speaking to electoral amendments, especially to issues around the transmission of the results in real time. I know a lot of activists, civil liberty organization that's been campaigning for this very reform, leading to where we are at this point. We are quite aware that the House of Representatives had sat, on these very reforms, made their recommendation, and then by the time the Senate sat on the issue in 2026, later than was expected by a lot of Nigerians, bearing in mind that the number of the constitutional time frame given for this whole issue is about to elapse, that one expected that the Senate would move with haste to amend areas in our constitution that gave room, that gave lacuna, prompting a lot of legal tussle after election. Remember what we witnessed after the 2023 election. There was a lot of disaffection, a lot of trust issues culminating from that very election, especially given to transmission of results. A lot of persons, held INEC accountable for the mishaps of 2023, especially those who felt that they won the election, given the crisis that we saw as a result of that very election. Then moving to the courtroom, where the court made pronouncement based on their interpretation of the law. People started agitating and calling for these reforms that will see to it that future elections will not only be said to be free and fair, but very credible, when it comes to how you transmit the result from polling units to INEC, to IRF, and then giving credibility to this very whole electioneering process. Be that as it may, we witnessed a situation where the Senate finally passed a bill, this amendment, where they sat and then they sat on these amendments and they came up with issues. Very beautiful bill. If you look at the 2026 Electoral Amendment Act, as amended by the Senate, it was very beautiful, given that the time frame, for example, for INEC to announce, go around and inform people about election was brought down from what it was used to be. And we saw a lot of beautiful amendments in there. But coming to the one issue where a whole lot of interest, Nigerian interest, was involved, is to this issue of Section 60, subsection 3 of that very act, empowering INEC, giving a legal backing to transmission of results in real time. A lot of us, hoped and waited for INEC to put in that clause mandating INEC to transmit results from the polling unit to IRF in real time. But what we saw was that the commission, INEC, was given the prerogative either to choose or not to choose, taking us back to the interpretation of the judiciary during the election, where if it is not given the legal backing by the Senate or the legislature, it will now become subject to the rules of INEC, which for the courts, they cannot base issues, the litigation or issues arising from the whole electoral process on the rules of INEC alone, which is why a lot of Nigerians has come out to criticize the Senate, and most especially the Senate president is taking a lot of beating for the position of the Senate on this issue, given what has come out in the public domain, where a lot of senators had come out publicly to say that this was not what was agreed on, that in their meetings they had agreed that there will be transmission in real time. Mark the word real time. And this is the contentious issue. They are not talking about transfer of results, but transmission of results in real time, where polling agents from their wherever polling unit they are can in real time, after the delegates or the participants in that very election had signed the form EC8, they can from there transmit straight to the IRF without the usual protocols of wanting to carry the result, the ballot and everything, and get to either the nearest INEC office, which usually during election is always designated to be the local government centers. A number of times you see ballot snatching, you see a lot of underhand practices, mutilation of results, changing of result sheets, or mutilation of already acknowledged and signed, result sheets. Okay. So to give way to this whole underhand practices, the Nigerian people, and in the wisdom of the framers of this very act, will feel that it's better that we should have an all real-time transmission of results, so that we won't see in such shenanigans, concerning our election. And as such, we will give our elections the semblance of credibility that is required, which was what was lacking in 2023. One expects that every nation, especially the political class, that we should learn from our misgivings in previous elections. And one of such issues has to do with this very section 60 subsection 3, that results were not transmitted in real time, culminating to what a lot of the allegations against the INEC, where results were announced in the middle of the night. So one is expecting that going into future election, that these anomalies will be corrected. Be that as it may, the Senate, after passing that very bill, went into a break, but Nigerians started to speak up. We've seen a lot of, flogging, a lot of canvassing against the Senate on their position. it's obvious that the generality of Nigerians are no longer tolerant of this whole situation where the Senate will not, stand on clarity and leave our laws to be left to the interpretation of the judiciary based on ambiguity. The Nigerians are now saying no. Let it be spelled out in clear terms. Let us know that it is transmission of results in real time. And we've seen a lot of movement. We saw former Minister Obieze, wrote a lengthy memo to the Senate, condemning what they term as lack of honesty, disregard for the position of the generality of Nigerians, and that should not be the way to go. We've seen the likes of Peter Obi and Atiku, eminent Nigerians, critiquing and criticizing the position of the Senate. This is not what is expected. I understand and learn that many senators have been receiving calls since they passed that they took that stand on this electoral amendment, and that's what it ought to be. I read somewhere where people were canvassing that people should start reaching out to their representatives and senators to air their misgiving on their position on this issue, and is assume that is beginning to bear fruit, where we've seen even new movements, civil liberty organizations, movements like Movement for Credible Elections and all that, calling out people to for protest and occupy National Assembly. And as we speak, yesterday we saw videos. Let me call for the video where we saw that protest yesterday, where people are moving in mass to occupy the National Assembly. Yeah. Nigerians are not excited. They are not happy.
They need transparency.
Yes, people want honesty. At least let there be semblance of credibility in our election, especially given those issues that we can correct, we can handle at this time, not the ones. Let's forget about the ones that we may not anticipate at this point in time. Given our experience from 2023, everyone assumed that these are correctable issues.
Nigerian people, you are the real distinguished Nigerians. Yes. National Assembly, your landlords are here. Yes. The peoples have come to the People's Parliament. Yes. Why are we here? Our vote must count. Our vote must count. What is your message to Akpabio? Akpabio! 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 Barawu Jibri, Tajudeen Abbas, Ben Kalu, committee members, Simon Lalong, Adam Soshomole, Leti Kingibe, Yara Adua, Sayaki Dixon, Leda Finone, all of you, pass the bill. Are we cleaning our Are we bandits? Are we terrorists? What do we want? Pass the bill. Pass the bill. No Toriki. The thing wey make that place great be say na people dey choose their leaders, so their votes dey count. So when the leaders go there, they must do wetin the people want. For Nigeria, na person wey dey ANEKE and politicians dey rig themselves to try to know who go become leader. The people no get say. So even if you be criminal, your confidence be say ANEKE go bring you back or court go bring you. So what we are doing here is to ensure say the law wey go guarantee free and fair election, mandatory real-time electronic transmission of result. This Akpabio 10th assembly they go pass am, so that we no go get law wey go help people to rig election and come back. Without free and fair election, how do we hold leaders accountable? We should not abuse the intelligence of Nigerians. The thing wey talk for video no be the thing wey we hear. Akpabio say they remove real time and they move back to 2022 act. My brother, no be 2022 act give us glitches. No be Professor Mahmoud do the Oriburuku wey do at the end, they don't nominate him to become an ambassador. No, whatever it is, were there not glitches? Glitches na allegation. Now Mahmoud said there was glitches. I'm not making any allegation, and he never tell us wetin caused that glitch until he tell us there is a problem. So we go back, go use the law wey give us glitches. There should be real-time mandatory transmission of results, plus other demands. Anybody for Nigeria today wey tell you say technology no dey to transmit election result is a thief. I say it's a thief. Tell am say I said it's a thief. The internet wey kidnappers and terrorists dey use to send message to call people from forest make dem go meet kidnapper to liaise with them. Since government no know how to use technology for election result, they should go and meet terrorists and ask them how they are doing it from the forest. Everywhere for Nigeria POS dey. How bank dey move money? The only thing wey no dey work for Nigeria na wetin politicians no wan make e work, and that kind of criminality must stop. As we dey here today, our vote must count. If you steal my vote the first time, shame on you. If you want to steal it the second time, shame on us. We will not allow that to happen. Our vote must count this time around. The success be say they go pass that bill. They don't go reverse. Akpabio go call them. They go come back. They will do the right thing. And 2027 we go mobilize to vote and protect our votes. They never finish work. So may we wait, may they bury the dead body so that we go do autopsy. So may we wait so that we go do autopsy, we go cemetery. Right hand and left hand of the same criminal structure. The thing what would they do here now to monitor them. National Assembly be like witchcraft coven. If they give you with right hand, they collect with left. We don't want loopholes. Make everybody touch light them. Make we know waiting they go finally pass, and they must do it on time. If they not do them, then we go know between the power of the people and the criminals in power who is greater. We will know. So if they no one pass them, whether Akpabio and Tinubu get Nigeria, whether it is Tinubu Akpabio Nigeria PLC or it is Nigeria will belong to all of us, we will find out. This protest is for as long as it takes until the right thing is done. Yes, simple. Until we get justice.
All right, like we were saying, it's wonderful to see that Nigerians are speaking and speaking loudly against the position of the Senate concerning this Electoral Act. You know, when you listen to Randy Peter speak on these issues, you see the passion, and that passion represents the passion of a generality of Nigerians concerning this issue. In 2023, this is a nation that witnessed glitch. We were told there was a glitch. Until to this day, beyond the dictionary, nobody has been able to explain what the glitch is.
Yes.
Where do we have the glitch from? And if one wants to play the devil's advocate, for instance, and take the side of the Senate president, who is, though he has said there's still an opportunity, a harmonization between the House of Rep and the Senate, then that this whole transmission in real life could still happen. But Nigerians don't want to take chances. But if one really wants to play that devil's advocate and ask, what if the rural communities, how are we going to, and if there is a breakdown in a network breakdown or technological issues, you know, you heard the Peter answer that question.
Yes,
there's no community in Nigeria where they do not do POS transaction or banks. So if we do these things, then it can happen. We can achieve that. And though when you listen to him, he said that see, everything can work on that. What doesn't work in Nigeria is what the politicians don't want to work. And this is the position of most Nigerians regarding this issue. Yeah. At least these are issues, these are the ones who can change at this point in time, who can effect this very change at this time to see that our election have a semblance of credibility. we know that the politicians are like cats with 9 lives. When you get them from one angle, they devise other means to go at it. We started from
another
yes, there was
angle.
a time we was ballot snatching.
Yeah.
Elections were like war in Nigeria, and then we'll go to a place where it wasn't an all-out war. We'll now begin to see what resembles a semblance of civility. Then to this point, and when we will now hold the issue of transmitting in real life, then you begin to see perhaps other hands. But at this time, let the Nigerian Senate go back and pass that real amendment that they will give the generality of Nigerians that notion that an election can be credible.
Yeah.
You see, resulting from what we witnessed in 2023, if you go into an election as of today, you will see a lot of political apathy. Many people will not come out to vote because they will tell you that their votes will not count.
Yes.
I don't know if you take out time to interact with people. They will tell you that they are no longer voting, that they stood under the sun for many hours, and afterwards, what they witnessed was a charade compared to the votes coming out from their polling units. As such, they are no longer willing to participate in taking part in their civic responsibility. So, we need this amendment, and this amendment will determine the outcome of next election. There's no doubt about it. And it's heartwarming that we've seen the likes of the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party coming out to lead from the front. We saw him there at the protest, and we expect other well-meaning Nigerians. While I was discussing with someone yesterday, I was asking where are the OBs in this protest? Are they leading the protest? He was telling me that it is the Nigerian people that are supposed to go protest, that these individuals are already made, that they are there to serve Nigerians. And I said, no, they are equally beneficiaries from whatever change that will come from the protest before an Occupy National Assembly. If this amendment is done, they will be direct beneficiaries. Yes, they want to serve Nigerians, but in serving Nigerians, Nigeria will treat them well. It's not a situation of there being one corner and then these are the masses. No, let us collectively tell the state, the status quo, our misgivings about the situation. And I'm so happy that I've seen him leading from the front and is encouraging, and other eminent Nigerians equally come out. It's not a situation where we live for the other Nigerians, and it makes me quite excited. The issue I'm so worried about now is that at this time I've not heard from Mr. President himself, being the Democrat that he is, because I know in the past I knew the position he took on democratic issues. Today he's a direct beneficiary of that system, and he is in government. He stands a chance to call the Senate to order. Let them do the right thing for the sake of democracy, and the democracy we'll talk about will outlive the rest of us. None of us will be here forever. So we need to bequeath to our children a system that works, a system that will see to it that their succession plan over the years is democratic, and not a situation where we begin to pander to the whims and caprice of certain individual. I know that this president is a Democrat to the core. I was there at Ojota Park when the protest against the subsidy, when we organized the Occupy Nigeria, and I listened to him, at Ojota Park speaking, and that he's a true Democrat, and one is expected that the hour has come, irrespective of position, that Nigeria should unify, like P2B has come to unite with common Nigerians standing on a common front. And there's nothing wrong when we hear from Asorok direct that the Senate should do the right thing. Each transmission of results will favor every well-meaning Nigerians that is capable of going to their people and ask for their vote. And if your people see you as being worthy and fit to lead them, then they will give you their vote, except you have skeleton in your cupboard, except you do not want to, stand on the credibility of a free and fair election to represent your people. That's when you begin to rigmarole about this issue. Be that as it may, I'm equally and happy that the Nigerian Labour Congress came out publicly to speak and to state categorically that they are willing to embark on protest and possible boycott of this election if the Senate doesn't come out to take a clear and unambiguous position on this mandatory transmission of results. Let us know what it is. You don't leave it at the mercy of ANEKE. for the judiciary to interpret. No, it's no longer a situation where Nigerians are willing to see glitch again.
Yeah.
Nigerians don't want to hear glitch. The glitch we talk about doesn't happen when we do our back transaction often. When there is downtime, we know that there is downtime, and it happens rarely. So if we can do bank transactions in Nigeria, if POS work in my village, then we can have e-transmission from my village as well. So these are what Nigerians are saying. Yes?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, even if the glitch issue, now Nigerians were used to glitch. During jam, there's a glitch. During exams, they always glitch. Now, what is the fear? They are talking of glitch when they've not yet tried it. That's the question. You're speaking on glitch. You're speaking on while I was listening to this, there was this quote that came into my head, like, if farmers wait for the storm to be over, then they will never get any fish. Now you're scared of going through this or passing this bill. You're scared of approving this or implementing this bill, rather than, why don't you try it first? And if it doesn't come out fine, if the glitches that you're afraid of or that you're scared of at the end of the day happens, then we Nigerians will know, okay, it's not meant to be.
Yes. What you know okay.
The thing also is that talking about this glitch thing,
Like you said, trying things over and over before the election is before something, before the general thing, is how you perfecting it. For instance, even so far as we're talking about this glitch on, glitch off, we don't even know when the election is coming up. That's number one. Number two is that in this glitch thing, like you said, it has started in 2023. There was a glitch. We don't know where it came from. Now, this year too, we are still having the same thing. Why don't we? There's enough time from 2023 to 2026 to check it out, to do mock. We should organize. We should actually know that as a nation, there are certain things we are bigger than. As African giants or whatever we are, there are certain things. Did you get, like Mr. said, POS works in several villages in remote areas. That is not just to tell you that there's network. There's this. In fact, network providers has done a lot of good job to bring this network down to the remotest part of Nigeria. And even when they use canoe to pass, there's network there because there's POS. So why are we talking about glitch?
What about your phone?
My phone, you see. So why are we talking about glitch in 2026? Why are we talking about, why are we now, why is the Senate why are they trying to sideline that particular thing? Because now, I'm not talking about how the election will come out or whatever. We want to see this. Nigerians, the world in Nigeria want to see that we are even making advancements in tech. That is something that I have seen. We are told that all the companies, all the programs, summits that Nigeria participates in is not in vain. That there's something, this thing too, in technology, that we're taking a bold step. We are trying out things, and that's how a nation that wants to be serious with their digital side works. Because if always people will be moving, Mr. Society, that there's always ballot snatching, there's this one, there's that one happening. There are different stories when they are going to turn up the votes. So why are we not trying out things and shaking our side from the digital side, since we are claiming that we are going to a lot of, as a nation, that we have a lot of summits? You will see this tech summit, so what are we actually doing? That is just the whole thing, and we have to look into it, and the Senate has to just look into it.
Like you read it, the fear shouldn't be what will happen at the end. Where we stand now is that Nigerians want to see that being a law, and when it becomes a law, you now have the right to punish whoever refuses to transmit in real time. And it's against the issues that we witnessed in 2023, where the judiciary based their ruling on the fact that there was no law mandating ANEKE to transmit results in real time. The issue here is real time. Was result transmitted in 2023? Yes, we had transmission of results. When you look at the National Assembly results, that happened, the election that happened side by side with the presidential election, we have the accurate results for the National Assembly. But when it comes to the president, that was where we had the issue of glitch. The glitch is not explained till today, which is why I said beyond the dictionary, there has been no explanation as to what caused the glitch beyond human hand, just like having the hand of a monkey in a pot of soup, right? So we should be bold enough to give legal backing to that section, making it mandatory, legally mandatory to transmit in real time. This is the issue here, and not leave it to be at the mercy of the rules of ANEKE. And when it becomes the rule of ANEKE, they have the discretion to choose either to transmit in real life, in real time, or not, or to transfer. So let us know what it is. That ambiguity should not be there. Then when we've passed this issue, remember that in 2023, when Amazon that hosted the RF site was consulted, they said there was nothing like glitch. So if Amazon is telling you that they didn't see any glitch, then there has to be a human hand somewhere. So first of all, let's have the legal backing to this issue. Then we'll begin to worry about the unseen human hand, and see errors, and we'll now know where the glitch will come from.
Yeah.
But for today, the fight is that as the Senate reconvenes today, they should do one thing. Deliberate on Section 60, subsection 3, and give it a legal backing. Make it a law that results will be transmitted from all polling units in real time. In real time. And that will not only ensure that we'll have a free and fair election, but it will make our election very credible. And every seasoned politician who's been in the Senate or in the National Assembly or anywhere, a governor who has been working for his people, shouldn't be scared. You know, it's when politicians become scared of re-election, that's when you begin to see issues around national interest like this, where somebody wants to protect a certain interest. And that shouldn't be so. That's what we are saying. That at this time in the life of this nation, there are things that should not be left in ambiguity. People are still contending the result of the 2023 election. And we shouldn't let that reoccur. In 2023, we had a lot of youth mass appeal, and we shouldn't let that die moving forward to 2023, because if you let this youth slip back to apathy, it becomes a serious issue. How do you bring them out? In 2023, we witnessed an election that was driven by a youth demography, and we shouldn't lose that.
Yeah.
And when you speak to a lot of them this time around, you see that they are encouraged from participating. In 2023, a lot of the representatives, rode on the back of that demography to be where they are now. And they shouldn't be seen to be anti-people. They should stand for the people. And that's why I'm excited that the Nigerian people are speaking, and speaking loudly and clear. They are occupying the National Assembly, and we've seen the results that the Senate has reconvened. And part of that, as Akpabio is concerned, and the other senators, it should be a tense emergency section, geared towards resolving this very issue. They shouldn't look for or invent new words to cover real-time transmission. Nigeria wants to see it at that section 60, subsection 3, that it states that results will be transmitted in real time. It's a beautiful amendment when you read it. When you go through the amendment, it is so beautiful. Even bringing down the number of days for litigation, the number of days where you have to replace a candidate and all that. Very beautiful. The only thing that spoils it, just like when you see a beautiful girl, a very pretty girl, good for marriage, and then you go and bring this bag, they use this sack of beans bag to make clothes for the pretty lady. What will you expect? It becomes, nobody will want to take a look at her. You understand? So if something is beautiful, let it be beautiful up and down. And that's what it is. If you've made a beautiful soup, and then you went to take a dirty water to put inside it, the soup nobody will want to feast from it. So let them correct that anomaly, and it becomes that beautiful bride that everybody will not forget the 10th assembly for what they've done. So as they meet today, we encourage them to be bold, to be nationalistic in approach, present the interests of Nigeria before their self-interest, and see to it that this right thing is done. It will favor not just them, but the children yet unborn.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now moving over to our next paper for today, coming from the Nation paper, where the Nation headline says, Tinubu, we will defeat this unacceptable terrorism banditry. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reassured Nigerians that his administration remains firmly committed to crushing terrorism and banditry across the country. Speaking amid renewed security concerns, the president described the violence as unacceptable and vowed that security agencies are being strengthened with better coordination, intelligence, and equipment. The message from the presidency this morning is clear that the fight against insecurity is far from over and government says it will not back down. Mr. Aucha, I would like to know your own take on this.
All right. When one sees this headline and Mr. President speaking so tough, it's quite understandable. There's nothing else you expect from Mr. President to do. And when it comes to this whole issue, I've always taken a certain position.
Yeah.
You know that it didn't start from his administration.
No, it didn't.
It's something we've witnessed from as early way back as 2000. We've seen this insurgency.
Yeah.
You understand? We've seen banditry. We've seen terrorism, and it escalated pre-2015. You know, culminating to what we are witnessing today. However, one thing that is not in doubt is that the buck stops on Mr. President's table. You understand? And that's why a number of times we look at him for direction. But one thing is that this president has shown clearly that he is bold, he is courageous, he is not one to shy away from giving direction on this issue. Do you remember that at the time when he was supposed to embark on international summits in South Africa, he had to cancel that, to remain behind, to lead from front and see to it that the kidnapped victims from Katsina, Kwara, that they were returned. You know, he chaired leading from the front, canceling every engagement, remained in Nigeria, and that is quite commendable. And given the situation that we've witnessed again in the community where they've come to, they maimed in Woro community, where, you know, community, the villagers were maimed, people were killed, they called for prayer, luring people to come out for prayer, you know, wanting to indoctrinate them into a violent Islamic belief. The people rejecting that, they came against, they mowed people down in their community. And this president equally has, you know, dispatched a battalion to go to the aid of this community and the state as a whole. We've seen equally that the IG of police, under the command of Mr. President, has equally dispatched a special task force to see to it that there's no reoccurrence of such. And we've seen the Operation Savannah Shield that's been instituted as regards these insurgents that we are witnessing, and a collaboration with the government of the United States of America. We saw that there was a meeting between Nigeria and the leadership of the AFRICOM situated in Ghana. You know, that speaks to that boldness from Mr. President. You know, given a number of times, a lot of critique had come out to say, why are we allowing the U.S., you know, come into, you know, invade our sovereignty by coming to lead that onslaught or the strike in Sokoto State? But this president has been bold to tell us that there is action, and as a result of collaboration with the United States government. Be that as it may, what one will not shy away from speaking is that this shouldn't be rhetorics, that these words should be meant with action. What Nigerians want to see is credible action, that Nigerians will no longer be killed in Nigeria. When you look at the whole situation, you were told every day, you will see that these insurgents are beginning to gain more traction in Nigeria. Look at Kogi State, look at Kwara, look at Niger State, not to talk about Katsina. What is happening is as if that these bandits, you know, are beginning to take over, celebrating their victory against the Nigerian state. And this is a nation that is not at war, but we have people in IDP camps. So Nigerians want to see action in real time as well, where these bandits, these Islamic terrorists, the kidnappers, by whatever nomenclature they go by, we want to see them decimated. And I tell you, that would, in a long way, define the life of this administration. You know, before this government, you know, came into place, there were a lot of promises that were made. But I tell you that the generality of Nigerians will not hold this government to account beyond if they achieve stability in the area of security for Nigerians. For example, when you look at the epileptic power supply that we're seeing in Nigeria at this moment, and I tell you, if this government can make it possible for Nigerians to travel the length and breadth of Nigeria without first of all going to a mosque and seek for special protection from an imam or a Christian going to buy an anointing oil, ororo, for prayers before embarking on a 3-hour journey, then Nigerians will forget every other promises and celebrate this government for ensuring security, stability in Nigeria. And that's what everybody's clamoring for. This time around, people no longer travel freely. We're just receiving a report from Kogi State, Ejule in Kogi State, where we were told that travelers were abducted, allegedly abducted, and 4 people were killed in that instance. And this is the story when you travel, every length and breadth of Nigeria. And one is beginning to say, why is it that we can't contend this issue? We were expecting that with the US strike in Sokoto as at 25th of December 2025, that the activities of these insurgents will begin to thin down. But it's as if the strike now emboldened them. And the US have now told us that they've dispatched boots on ground. We expect to see, actions, that visible actions, to see to the decimation of these insurgents. And, we keep calling for the prosecution of the sponsors of this terrorist act. One is cited that the former Attorney General is being charged with terrorism, which we hope that, he's not guilty until he's proven guilty. He still remains innocent until it is proven, in the court of law, that indeed he sponsored terrorism, given the catch of arms that was said to have been discovered in his home in Kebbi. But be that as it may, it shouldn't be the only exception. We want to see the sponsors of these terrorists prosecuted. Let's cut off their funding. And when you cut off their funding, their sources, then you are able to contend with this individual. And what are we doing with our Sahel brothers? We are told that there's a lot of influence from the Sahel, coming down to Nigeria. What are we doing with them to take the tie from the Sahara so that there won't be influence of these bandits into Nigeria? And this is challenging, being that Nigeria at this time, people cannot remain safe in their home. Look at what happened in Kwara. Is a very gory tale. Officially, we accepted that it's 75 that was killed. But when you take into account the eyewitnesses from that village, you see that the numbers is more than that. And why is our government, our military, our security forces, why are they reactionary? Why don't we see a situation they are able to nip these situations on board before they happen? Why can't we take the fight against these terrorists? Yes, a lot of northern senators have come together and they are calling for more recruitment, into the security force, which is quite understandable and acceptable. But the issue is that over time, at this point in time, we should have a holistic approach to, using a kinetic force, because that should be the only language that these terrorists would understand and decimate them. Let's take the onslaught against them wherever they are. The other day, we just the Air Force were celebrating the resuscitation of the Super Puma jet. Let us bring all this kinetic force into being and begin to take the onslaught against the bandits. This is a nation that has gone to Liberia. The ECOMOG soldiers who did exploit. This is a nation within matter of minutes we were able to foil a Q attempt in Benin. So why can't we take same approach on our issues? Yes. Why can't we begin to go after these bandits? Let us, first of all, cut the source of their funding. When you've cut the source of their funding and their sponsors, then go after them. Let's begin to, it's no longer an issue where the president gives directives or we see beautiful speeches in front of television. No, we want to see the way they've decimated our citizens, the way we see the corpse of our citizens lying fallow like dead chicken. That's how Nigerians want to see these terrorists, these bandits, decimated. What are they looking for? We've given them the latitude to negotiate, and it doesn't seem to solve the problem. If the carrot has not solved the issue, let us apply total kinetic force. If this nation, as at 1960 to 1970s, was able to cut off food supply to the Biafran when we fought that war, when the nation was still in darkness, then in this time and tide, we should be able to cut off supplies to these bandits. Where do they get their supplies from? These are the issues. Are we telling me that that despite the humongous amount who voted for security, that our security agencies are no longer functional. No, I refuse to agree to that. We have a very security network, intelligence network, one among the best in Africa. They can work, but the challenge is what is hindering them from working. I know men and women who has given their life to this fight, so we shouldn't let all that be in vain. And I still agitate that we should have a holistic approach to this issue, because one is disencouraged when the tunes coming out from Katsina is different from what is coming out from the center.
Yeah.
There should be a holistic approach, a generalized onslaught against the insurgents wherever they are found, either from Meduguri or Kwara or wherever. And as we are speaking, people in Osun, neighboring this whole subdued state, are equally scared of what may be at any point in time. So let us come together. Let's convene a security conference where we tell ourselves the truth. We can surmount this situation. What we are witnessing is not just a situation of, we call it herdsmen farmers clashes. It's gone beyond herdsmen farmers clashes. It's gone beyond kidnapping and all that. What we are witnessing is a different onslaught against the Nigerian state. We've seen ISIS and ISWAP, forming alliances in Nigeria. So until we holistically harness these treaties that we go into with countries like Turkey, the US, and all that, and see that we solve this situation before we go into 2027 general election, it will still leave more to be desired. That Nigerians are being killed every morning. When you wake up and you go to the front page of a newspaper, you see a new reportage about the killings in Nigeria. It becomes so worrisome. And we are said not to be at war, while our citizens are living in IDP camps. And we'll talk about what? What kind of development will you have in such a country? What else would work if you do not have security? We'll keep speaking to the economy being the way it is. How would you have development? How will investors come into your country if you cannot guarantee security? How can farmers go to the farm if you do not have security? So those are the issues. We need to sit down and harmonize these things. And until then, we can't begin to move forward as a nation. You will not expect to have food security if you do not ensure security of life and property. You cannot ensure foreign investors or even local investors will begin to take away their hard-earned investment from Nigeria if we do not deal with security issues. Let's not continue to pancake the situation. It has gotten so rotten and is beginning to smell out, and we need to tackle it. However, I realize and I commend Mr. President, this administration, for their boldness to want to collaborate with a foreign government. It speaks to boldness, because a lot of people critique that you, as if you're trading your sovereignty, especially given the position of Nigeria in the African continent. But he has shown boldness, he has shown courage. And I do realize that while the buck stops on his table, that it didn't start from his administration. But today, he's the one we know as our president. And he's the one who will continue to cry to. But they should see that this issue is resolved. It is surmountable. We can surmount it. Yes, I know our soldiers who've been up and about. We've gone to Liberia. We remember the ECOMOG, all the peacekeeping places we've gone to. We were able to bring peace in those areas. We can bring peace in our own territory. We should be able to, even if it's a jihadist, we should be able to confront them, fight them, take them out so that people can practice their faith in peace. This situation is affecting the generality of Nigerians. It's no longer time to say the Christian, the Muslims. Human life is sacrosanct, wherever it is. And we should see that we protect the life of our citizens.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now moving over to our next paper for today, coming from the Vanguard. And the Vanguard headline, below the Vanguard headline says, Nigeria will continue borrowing to fund 25.91 trillion naira budget deficit, says Senate. And Nigeria Senate has revealed that the federal government will continue to rely on borrowing to finance the country's massive 25.91 trillion naira budget deficit. According to lawmakers, the current revenue profile of the country is not sufficient to meet growing expenditure needs, making borrowing unavoidable for now. However, the Senate has also drawn a clear line. The National Assembly says it will no longer approve endless budget rollovers and subsidies without strong justification. And that's it for today's newspaper review here on Sunrise on ANEKE TV. Please do not forget that you could grab physical copies from any of your favorite vendor or catch the e-paper online for more broader information. And up next, we'll be moving over to our sports oracle, the man himself, Good Hope, to give us our sports updates.
Thank you very much. Today in sports here on Sunrise, there has been a lot of issues around Chelsea's head coach saying that he's not afraid of the critics that are coming online, people that have accused him of not, just being calm. He has actually been doing well. And Chelsea is targeting to have their 7th Premier League home win against Leeds tonight. And you know that there are fixtures that are coming this night in the Premier League. Manchester United, that they are going to play against West Ham, away game. And that match will make Michael Carrick to win. If he wins that match, that will be his 5th win in a row. What Manchester United have not seen in 2 years, that is what we're about to have. Ethan Waneri, the Arsenal player, has also said that he is from Nigeria, that he has a Nigerian descent. He said this when he was being interviewed by J.org, where he has given that assertion that Nigeria has something in him. He said that he is from this part of Africa, of course, that he's from Nigeria, because he has seen how it is and he has actually understood how life and other things work. So he was not born in Nigeria, he was born overseas. And he went from Arsenal to Olympique Marseille, where he is, where he has played 4 games. He has given 4 assists and he has scored just 1 goal to start off his loan spell. He played for Arsenal, but I have told you before that the wing he played was the wing Bukayo Saka was playing, and also the wing that Donny Madueke plays now. So he's 18 years old, of course, so he's very young. He was sent to Olympique Marseille to go and get himself together, and so that he can come back and have a wonderful time playing for Arsenal. Still on that Mexican, the World Cup is about to take place just in this 2026, and robot dogs have been deployed, have been built to help the Mexican police at World Cup 2026. Robot dogs have been built to help the Mexican police in 2026 World Cup. As World Cup is coming up, these are the things. The whole thing, the whole program is being advanced, and there are many other things that are coming. Just like this robot dog that was built last time in the World Cup, it was a chip in the ball that beeps to the ref that the ball has gone over the lines, or let's say there's this playing and it goes to throwing, or it goes offside, or just something. Now we are having a robot dog for the World Cup. I can say kudos to FIFA for that advancement they are actually making so far. Now, still in the news, we're talking about now the Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen. Eric Chelle, the head coach of Super Eagles, has come out to say that our own Victor Osimhen played the AFCON with hamstring injury. He made this known yesterday while commending the Nigerian striker for his effort so far in ensuring that Super Eagles, that they clinch to the top place after their failure to win Morocco in a penalty shootout. That particular night that got all Nigerians, most of Nigerians away till 12. Well, I'm telling you right now that has been what happened. It just, if he did not say it, nobody would have known. Of course, the Richelle himself has also praised Victor Osimhen for being an inspiration to him, because he actually he told him a lot of things, and one of the things that he noted, that he said, you used to be a small coach, now you're a big coach. And Victor Osimhen also has to commend Erichelle. Looking at Erichelle's record so far, like I told you, he has actually lost 2 games since he became Nigeria's head coach. He has actually lost 2 games. One just in a normal game, and the other one in a penalty shootout against Morocco. And he has been in the office for more than 1 year, not even 2 years. So we are looking at the positive side. And Super Eagles players have also come out to say that they want Eric Chelle to remain the head coach of the Super Eagles, looking at his progress and how he gathers the team and what he's actually doing so far. It is said also in the news that late UK-based Nigerian footballer Adeniji, his burial is today. And still on the news, Lukman is positive after first Atletico defeat. Lukman is very positive that there will be signs. When we talk about there will be signs, he's talking about that there will be a lot of progress when, just like the match they lost. So there will be a lot of progress after he faced his first defeat in his new club, that's Atletico Madrid. He scored in on his debut day and had made an assist. That took them to the next stage of the Copa del Rey. But right now, they are struggling and scrambling for the top five in the La Liga games. Of course, you will see that Lukman is so positive to make a mark in the new team where he has found himself. And also, we're still talking about sports. We're talking about Nokwenchi finishes fifth at Madrid World Tour, and he finishes fifth at Madrid World Tour. This is actually one of the things that happens a lot of times. And just moving on from that Nokwenchi story, we're going on to F1. The F1, what is happening in Formula One? Formula One is going to resume from March 6th to March 8th, and is going to kick off with one of the best Australian GP. It's going to kick off from March 6th to March 8th, and it's going to be something that you have to stay tuned to watch. Of course, teams and several of them have started releasing their livery, their cars, their rights for the competition, and you would actually see that there is a lot of things that they are ready. Lando Norris of the one who won the F1 game, one who took the F1 trophy, he is ready for the season. And one of the things that we have seen that they have done is that they branded him Monster. They collaborated with Monster. I'm talking about this guy that had the F1 trophy, the Formula 1 trophy, just last season. He had to beat Max Verstappen, who has won it 4 times in a row, and also he has to beat Lewis Hamilton. He had to beat these people so that he can clinch to the next level of the Formula 1. Now, still on Formula 1, we're talking about these people releasing, these teams releasing their cars. You can see the one of Mercedes, George Russell, and Kimi Antonelli. They are ready for the season. And with other people, Lewis Hamilton driving for a Ferrari, and we are also having the Cadillac, and we are also having the Red Bull. And Red Bull is one of the teams that are doing well in Formula 1, where you have Max Verstappen being featuring so much in the team, and we are actually seeing how it is going. So thank you very much, and we're going to see how it is as we commence our time in sports again. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that sports update. But before we get to this segment, let me ask you, as if you're a medical doctor and you happen to be kidnapped, but while on duty you now see your abductors, how will you do? Will you treat them?
Yes.
Yeah. Will you treat the abductors?
I will.
You will?
To
Are you
keep
sure
them
you
To
will?
keep them alive, so that they can.
Are you sure you will treat them?
No, I will. Of course, it's just simple. I will treat them to keep them alive to face the law.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What
Because
about you?
would I kill them? What's the game? Why will I kill them? It's even against the practice. So I will keep them alive to face the law.
No, we're not talking about you killing them, but will you treat them?
Yes, of course.
You can
Another
walk away and
question
let
is, do they
another
know
person.
if I'm a doctor?
No, okay, let me give you the background to this story. The news broke on 8th February, where some weeks after the release of Dr. Abu, who was kidnapped with his brother, Taher, they were kidnapped in Auchi, Edo State, as they were entering their residence in City Pride Road. The kidnappers then demanded the ransom of 100 million naira. The family, colleagues, public donations were mobilized to raise the money. But despite the ransom negotiation, they killed the younger brother Taher, and then later a ransom of 50 million was paid and Dr. Abu was released. Then on February 8th, 2026, that's some weeks later after his release, 2 men brought their sick child to the specialist hospital in Auchi, where Dr. Abu works as a house officer. While on duty, he entered the ward and immediately recognized the men as members of the gang that had abducted him and his late brother. He still went ahead and treated them and attended to the sick child, maintaining his professional duty as a doctor, and then quietly alerted the hospital authority and security operatives. The police, were invited later from Auchi division. They later came and arrested the two suspects, but later confirmed that Idris Abubakar and Sani Abubakar, were the name of these kidnappers,
Yes.
and that it was indeed one of them, Idris, who collected the ransom money.
Yeah.
Yes, which is why I'm asking, if you are the medical doctor,
That's why
would
I
you,
asked. That's
would you treat them?
That's why I asked the question. Well,
Yes.
for the child,
Yes.
I would.
Okay.
But if it was the kidnappers, I don't think I would.
You don't think you would?
Yes,
of the
because the
trauma,
memories
the
that you have to be
memories.
reminded, the days you
This
stayed, and then they
guy.
killed your brother.
Oh,
But they killed my brother.
Yeah, they killed the brother. Yeah, they killed Taher. They made a demand of 100 million. After mobilization of funds from friends, the public, 50 million was gotten. But between they've already killed Taher, though his body was later recovered in around the river in Auchi there. But doctor was on duty, and then he recognized these individuals.
Yeah.
Then boldly and courageously he went ahead to discharge his professional duties. And you're saying you
Yeah,
will-
because
Sorry, I
it
want
comes
to
to a doctor. This thing comes first to save the
Yes,
life.
Yes.
So of course he had to save the child.
But having
Then-
that frame of mind, to maintain what you call
He's cool-headed.
steeze and composure,
He's calm.
and still discharge
He's
your
matured.
professional
He's matured enough.
That's a great guy.
It takes
But
maturity.
Did he hand them over to police?
No,
Yes,
after he
yes, he
treated them,
called.
he walked away, alerted the hospital authorities. Everybody was aware that he was kidnapped at one point. So he alerted the hospital authorities, who in turn called in the police from Auchi division. And then these
So those
disgruntled fellows were
those
arrested.
kidnappers did not recognize him.
They didn't recognize him either.
No,
That's beautiful.
that's ugly. That's very
They didn't
ugly.
recognize him, because if they had recognized him, perhaps
They
they
wouldn't
would
have
have taken
come
to
to
their
the
feet, and they
hospital,
wouldn't
yeah.
have come to that very hospital.
Yes.
They didn't.
They
They
didn't.
did not know.
But good enough, they are now apprehended, but a life was already lost.
Yeah.
But speaks to the boldness of this, the humanity
The
in this
doctor,
doctor, Dr. Abu, to have treated the sick child first before moving on to alert the
The child
authorities.
is even innocent.
No, the child is innocent,
The
yes.
child is innocent.
What
That's
does the
it.
child know? So
The child is innocent.
treat the child, and then
You will treat the child.
I will treat him or her well. Okay?
It's not because we're in front of camera. You sure you will treat
No,
I
that's
will-
what I said. I would treat
It's
the
the
child.
child.
It's the child
Yes, if there's
that
the
is
child.
to be saved, not the parents or the father or uncle.
People have done more, like it's just a human thing to treat a child.
Okay.
It's just to do it like you should do it.
So,
For the love of
For the love.
humanity.
Okay, yeah, this reminds me a movie we used to watch when we were much younger about a doctor whose car was stolen by some armed robbers during an armed robbery operation. Then when you used to have this Beetle, Beetle, Ipo agencies, you are young,
Also, you don't
but
know
the
Beetle.
Beetle, so the car was stolen. Then subsequently he went back to his hospital, and then one of these armed robbers was shot, and they brought it to his clinic. They put that and with his car.
hey,
But he went ahead and treated the armed
called
robber.
what goes around comes around quickly.
Before alerting the police and all that. It happens, But these are usually, if not the Nigeria of today, you would think that these are stories you hear you see in movies,
Yeah.
but it's happening.
yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, I would just encourage Dr. Abu to take heart. At least there is some closure.
At least they've been caught.
But it will never replace
His brother.
this brother
That's
Taher that was lost. All right, moving on from that, we're in the week of Valentine.
Ah.
Yes, and
Yes.
one of the things I saw or read about is the issue of fidelity. People has been talking about love. Though I'm old school,
Yeah.
you are Gen Zs. One of the things that our age, say that the Valentine, happens to be a misplaced priority,
Yeah.
in the sense that we're not celebrating the victims. But one of the issues that have been making rounds is issue of fidelity. Somebody catching their partner in the act. And I want to ask, let me start with good hope. If peradventure,
That's
I
the
know
one of many parts.
that you're
Mental
you're mental mechanic. Let's invoke that mental
let's know what the mental mechanic is all about.
Yes, I know that you are single,
Oh.
but I don't know if there is any behind. But
Behind
let's
the scenes.
assume that there is a behind, and you catch your partner in the act. What will be your reaction?
Thank God it's assumption. So, well, you have this thing.
Relatably in real life, what would you do?
Relatively, first of all, you walk away. That's number one thing. You walk away. Then you later, you're angry. Of course, you first just walk away. Then later, if there's a turnaround or something, you can engage the person. What happened? I mean, not because this what happened. That what happened with the solemn. What happened?
Why me?
Why me? You step first of all ask yourself, what now happened? Why did you make that choice? Why is it this person you know? You ask heaven and the earth, why did you choose this person? But later, if the person is making advancements, you can now say, okay, so what happened? And you have to first of all, like someone like me, I will first of all sit quiet for days. I will not utter a word. That is, I'm just telling you who I am. Not utter a word.
That will affect your mental state.
Because I'm a mental
That
mechanic.
your mental mechanic, it doesn't have anything to do with this.
No.
Alter your mental state.
My mental, I will be quiet. Because when I'm quiet, I'm not just quiet, I'm thinking. My mental workstation is on the radar. So something is happening. So I just have to be thinking, what actually led to this before I will now start interrogating or asking questions. If the person, of course, if the person is a wise person, the person will know that, oh, you have done something wrong. You just need to find a way and go back to this person or reach out to this person. But if the person is not a wise person, let's not call the names the person would be if they are not wise. That means the person will just
unwise.
Eh?
They're unwise.
Unwise. That means the person will just be, just move on, and then you have to
Will
stay.
you divorce your wife on that ground? Or not?
No.
You will not divorce your wife. If you catch your wife in the act, you will not divorce her.
No.
Okay. What about you?
Also, you're talking. I thought it was just. I did not know it was couples, like married people question.
No.
It's married people.
Okay.
Yeah.
At your state now, if it happens, what happens?
Well,
And if you're married, what will happen?
There's really nothing to do. If it's let's say it's still the dating relationship, like simple, just walk away.
Yes,
What
if
you
it's
want to
relationship, something like that.
At least you already know where you are. Because for a guy you're dating, you want to spend your life with, cheated on you with somebody else. You've simply known where you are. It's just to walk away.
You walk away.
I will not exchange any words. I will not banter anything.
Okay.
I will not ask any questions.
What if he comes crawling, begging,
You
and
should
asking for
crawl
mercy?
going back.
So there's no forgiveness there.
There's nothing.
This is
Because
relationship.
no Valentine there.
Like, this is no Valentine. This is relationship.
Because you keep on being reminded, even if you're not reminded, you remind him now. There's this trust that will not be there anymore. Like, let's say he goes out, and then it's always on your head. Maybe he has gone to see somebody else.
Renew mind, though.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to the marriage aspect,
Will you divorce your husband because he cheated?
Deb,
when we reach that bridge, we'll cross it.
that bridge that you want to cross
When we
now.
reach that bridge, I hope I don't reach it.
There's nothing there for me.
Cross it.
Like, if it's marriage, okay, you now know that, because marriage doesn't just happen spontaneously.
Because if it's him, would he still stay with me? That's the question. So when we reach that bridge, we'll cross it.
All right. To you, our wonderful viewers, you heard. Let us know what you will do in that situation. It's the week of Valentine. We'll continue on this trajectory. Let's move on to the business news. All right. On our business updates, starting from the stock update yesterday, Monday, February 9, 2026, the Nigerian exchange remained strong, extending a 6-day bullish streak. The market reached a historic milestone as the all share index ASI surged to an all-time high, breaking past the 170,000 marks. Looking at the market capitalization, which ended approximately at 111.6 trillion naira, in a volume and value that was where investors traded 775.05 million shares worth 27.86 billion naira across 65,906 deals. Looking at the market breadth, we saw that the market was positive with 59 gainers compared to 27 losers. And when we take a look at the top 5 gainers, we see CAP PLC leading the pack, closing the market at 90 naira 20 kobo, making a positive plus 10 adjustment. And May and Becker equally in the pack, closing the book at 43 naira 45 kobo, making a plus 10 positive adjustment. And we saw that communication closing trading yesterday at 2 naira 9 kobo, equally in the positive. RT Briscoe closes trading yesterday 13 naira 89 kobo, equally in the positive, plus 9.98%. And then on this list, we saw NACO Insurance. NACO closed trading yesterday at 150 naira, making a positive 9.97 adjustment. And then moving on to the list of top 5 losers, who are led by Vitafoam. We saw that Vitafoam closed trading yesterday at 96 naira 20 kobo, making a negative adjustment of 18.78%. And looking at Unicel, which closed trading yesterday at 134 naira 85 kobo, equally in the negative, minus 9.98%. We see Triple G and Company closing trading yesterday at 6 naira 65 kobo, in the negative of 8.90%. Abbey Mortgage Bank closed trading yesterday at 13 naira 75 kobo, making a negative 8.03% adjustment. And the last on this list is Austin Lars, which closed trading yesterday at 5 naira, equally in the negative of minus 7.41%. The banking sector remains a primary driver of the 2026 rally, with Access Holding and Zenith Bank leading the chart in terms of trading volume. Moving over to the Naira performance, we'll see that the Naira yesterday, February 9, 2026, showed a resilient performance, gaining ground in both the official and parallel market as liquidity improved. The Naira opened the week on a positive note in the Nigerian foreign exchange market, closing at appreciated approximately to 1,363 naira 84 kobo against the dollar. And moving over to the informal market, which mirrored this stability, with the naira strengthening slightly due to moderated demand from importers. We saw the buying rate yesterday at 1,450 naira as against the dollar, and selling rate at 1,460 naira against the dollar. This represents a 5 naira gain for the naira compared to the previous Friday of 1,465 naira against the driver. And looking at the improved liquidity, we saw increased dollar supply from exporters and private holders at the start of the week, which helped to ease pricing pressure. The CBN electronic foreign exchange matching system continued to narrow the gap between official and parallel markets. And looking at inflation and rates, we saw that with inflation holding at 15.15%, the monetary policy rate at 27%, the currency has found a relatively steady floor below the 1,400 naira mark in the official window. And that is it for the business update this morning. But you are advised that before you make any investment, please do consult a certified financial expert due to the volatility of the market. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. And this is where we'll call it a day on this edition of Sunrise here on ANEKE TV. Please do not forget to reach out to us on YouTube or call our phone number 070-3043-7110. It's always a pleasure having you here on our show every morning. I am Deborah Umakuba.
All right, Mr. Good Hope, the mental mechanic, the man of many parts, commissioner of enjoyment. They say commissioner of enjoyment with plenty money, and the sports oracle. It's a pleasure to have you here on Sunrise.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure too.
And I pray Nigeria continue to treat you well.
Yes.
And I'm Uche Osai. Remember, you're not here to be average. Be unique. Keep watching ANEKE TV. To come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.